Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we spill the tea on corporate filings. And today we're looking at Talen Energy Corporation, where things are getting a little energetic. So what is this filing all about? Well, it looks like Talen Energy, or TLN, as it is known on the market, is making some big moves, and they need to tell the world about it. Think of this as their way of saying, hey public, pay attention, we're getting ready to do some serious business. First off, they announced their subsidiary TES is planning to sell some serious debt called senior notes. They're hoping to raise money by selling notes that are due in 2034 and 2036. This is basically like taking out big loans, but instead of going to one bank, they going to a bunch of investors who buy these notes. They saying this is exempt from the usual registration rules, meaning they not doing a full public sale through the stock market, but a more private deal to qualified buyers. And it is not just senior notes, they also wrapped up a massive deal for a new term loan B facility. We're talking about a cool $1.2 billion. This is a pretty significant amount of funding, and the cost to borrow this money is tied to something called the secured overnight financing rate, plus an extra 2%. This tells us they resecuring a lot of capital, likely to fund those other big plans we about to talk about. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Talen Energy has been eyeing up two huge power generation plants. They've already agreed to buy the Freedom Energy Center in Pennsylvania for about $1.46 billion and the Guernsey Power Station in Ohio for an even heftier $2.33 billion. Together, these acquisitions, if they go through, are a massive bet on growing their power generation footprint. But you can just buy massive assets without regulators taking a good look. They've been working with the US Department of Justice, or DOJ, and other agencies like the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, to get all the necessary approvals. It seems like they had a chat with the DOJ and decided to withdraw their initial application and refile. This is necessarily a bad sign, but it means they voluntarily hitting the pause button to give the DOJ more time and information to review the deal. It is like saying, here, take your time, we want to make sure you are happy with this big purchase. Scroll outside date, the clock is ticking on these deals though. The original deadline for these acquisitions to close was July of next year, but if regulatory approvals are still pending, that deadline gets pushed back to January of 2027. That is a lot of runway, but it also highlights the complexity of getting these giant deals approved. And get this, if these acquisitions don't happen for reasons not entirely their fault, TLN might have to pay the sellers a hefty fee, around $63 million for the Freedom deal and a whopping $100 million for the Guernsey deal. That is a pretty big incentive to get these deals done. Right now, they're aiming to close these acquisitions in the first quarter of 2026, but there are no guarantees. They are stressing that there is no certainty these deals will actually go through or on the terms they agreed to. This kind of wording is standard in these filings, but it is a reminder that big acquisitions are always a gamble. Looking at this filing, Talen Energy is clearly in a growth phase, making significant moves to expand its power generation capabilities and raise substantial capital. The massive debt offerings and the proposed acquisitions signal a company that is willing to take on significant financial commitments to achieve its strategic goals. The bold move to acquire two large power plants shows a strong belief in future energy demand and their ability to operate these assets profitably. However, the complexity of regulatory approvals and the potential for hefty termination fees are significant risks. The voluntary withdrawal and refiling of their antitrust application with the DOJ indicates a cautious approach to navigating regulatory hurdles, which is wise but also adds a layer of uncertainty to the timeline. Ultimately, TLN is placing a big bet on its future, and investors will be watching closely to see if these ambitious plans translate into sustainable growth and profitability. Alright, that is our breakdown of Talen Energy. Latest filing, what is your take on these bold moves and what they signal for the company? Future, drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description for further discussions. Thanks for watching, see you next time.